Alright, as someone who's not obsessed with Star Wars lore, I have a few questions that need to be answered. Number 1, how does Rogue One fit into an already established Star Wars timeline? Number 2, why is it exclusively Earthbound? Number 3, why did the marketing team keep Tom Cruise's starring role so secret? And number 4, wait, did I accidentally watch Rogue Nation again? Easily one of the most anticipated movies of 2016, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story is the first of the non-episodic Star Wars anthology series and acts as a stepping stone between episodes 3 and 4, ending just minutes before the beginning of A New Hope. You know the first couple of paragraphs in the opening crawl? Yeah, that's the entirety of this movie. Which means that Rogue One needs to stand on its own within an already established world and do its own thing without knocking any of the continuity of the episodes out of line, all while feeling distinctly Star Wars. Fans needn't worry though, because Rogue One is Star Wars to its core. Now I'm going to make it clear, I like Star Wars. I think they're good, extremely imaginative films and I appreciate what they did for filmmaking as a whole. I have seen all of the films and I liked most of them, but I wouldn't consider myself a massive fan of Star Wars. I'd watch the films if I had nothing to do and they came on the TV, but it'd be rare for me to actually choose them or go out of my way to watch a Star Wars film. My biggest gripe with Star Wars isn't with the films themselves, it's with the fans, where Star Wars is practically a religion, and the culture, and the fact that it's basically sacrilege to say anything bad about Star Wars. People just get blinded by the name and they refuse to take any honest opinion on board. It doesn't align completely with their own, and I realise there's probably die-hard fanatics screaming at me and want to force choke me right now, so it should put your mind at ease. Coming from me, I loved Rogue One. Right from the off, it makes it clear that it means to be its own thing. There's no opening crawl, it just starts, and the theme isn't a distinct Star Wars theme, but it does riff on it, and combined with a couple of stylistic choices, it makes it clear that it is Star Wars, but it's its own thing. Straight away you can tell that this has a much darker tone in general than what you may expect. This is a film about struggle, about vastly overpowered rebels trying to stand up to the Empire however possible. Which means the characters we see aren't the squeaky clean heroes we meet in episode 4. They're spies, assassins, and often have to do things they really don't want to for the greater good. Director Gareth Edwards brings the same kind of murkiness that he did for 2014's Godzilla, especially during the climactic battle, which is a thrilling mix of action, danger, and determination, and puts the war back into Star Wars. Speaking of Gareth Edwards, it's well known that he is a massive Star Wars fanatic, so the film's in good hands from a creative perspective. There's plenty of callbacks and homages that fans of all levels of familiarity will enjoy. I went with somebody who's mad into Star Wars, so some of the references went right over my head, but he loved them, and I like that there's really only one or two things that felt forced, or crowbarred in, because for the most part they felt organic, and not like they were just in there for the sake of fan service alone. The thing that stood out the most to me were the visuals. Some of the shots in this film were incredible. The cinematography is excellent, but the VFX is mind-blowing. I mean, it actually looks photorealistic. Obviously it's easy enough to set off real explosions and stuff like that when filming, but I'm talking about vast cityscapes, space dogfights, and all sorts of other vehicles and weapons look absolutely flawless. I mean, it actually looked like it was really happening, and trust me, I was looking for a flaw in it. The only time the VFX slips up is that there's a certain human character that is entirely CGI. Now don't get me wrong, the CGI is fantastic and it's about as good as it can possibly be with current technology, but when that character is in a room with and interacting with real humans, it just doesn't look right, and it's actually quite distracting. I absolutely commend the stunning work done in bringing this character to life, but clearly the technology isn't there yet for human faces at least. Because the character K2SO is obviously entirely CG, but it fits into each scene seamlessly and it doesn't look like a digitally inserted 3D model. I've heard complaints that the trailer is misleading as it promises the return to Darth Vader, but he's only in the film for like 2 scenes, which I guess is true, but to be honest, I hadn't watched the trailer before seeing the film, so I was actually really excited when Vader showed up. And yes, he's in it extremely briefly, but if you ask me, it's a good thing. Sometimes less is more, and in just one scene, he is solidified as one of, if not the, all-time greatest movie villain. Which brings me straight onto the bad. Darth Vader makes a pun. Now that to me didn't feel like the Darth Vader that I know, and maybe somebody who cares about the lore more than I do should tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I did not like that. Also, and I know I'm just nitpicking here, but that should tell you how little there is to complain about, I thought a lot of the humour didn't land. Now granted, the comic relief is almost solely in the hands of Alan Tudyk's K2SO, but there's clearly a lot of jokes and lines that were supposed to be funny and they just They just weren't. My only real complaint, and this isn't me just complaining for the sake of it or hating on Star Wars or whatever, it does get off to a really shaky start. The first act of this film really isn't that interesting. They've got so many characters to introduce and locations to get through and stories to set up that it takes a long time to settle into and zero in on what makes this story work. But in saying that, once you get to the second and third act, the film is relentless in its action and its enjoyment, and you kind of forget about what came beforehand. With all that said and done, Rogue One is a fantastic addition to Star Wars canon. It thrives without the pressure of having to set up multiple sequels and franchises, and it does feel distinctly Star Wars while doing enough to stand alone. Not only does this not detract from the original episodes, it actually adds so much more meaning to A New Hope. Yes, it does get off to a rocky start and almost all characters get no development, but I still greatly enjoyed it, so I'm going to give Rogue One 4 popcorns. But let me make it clear, Star Wars fans will love this, so if you consider yourself a massive fan of Star Wars, you can probably go ahead and put another one on the end there. Alright, thank you very much for watching my review of Rogue One. If you liked it, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and please do us a favour and share this review with a friend. If you're a massive Star Wars fan, please don't shoot me for giving it 4. But in the meantime, if you want to go ahead and check out some of my latest videos, you can click the boxes below. Please consider subscribing to keep up with my content. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.